everyone! I'm Emily, and welcome back to Daily English Class. We're so happy you're here to improve your English with us today.
And I'm Leo. On this channel, we help English learners build confidence. Through simple lessons, useful conversations, and daily speaking practice.
Today, we're discussing something that can completely change your English journey. We're talking about daily habits that can help you become more fluent.
Many learners study grammar, memorize vocabulary, and watch English videos regularly. But even after a long time, they still feel nervous when speaking English.
The reason is simple. Fluency doesn't come from studying once in a while. It develops through small habits that you practice every single day.
Think about learning any skill. You don't become great overnight. Progress happens little by little through patience and consistency.
The good news is that you don't need to study for hours every day. You just need the right habits and the commitment to follow them.
In this lesson, we'll share practical habits that can improve your listening, speaking, vocabulary, confidence, and overall communication skills.
Let's start with the first habit, listening to English every day. This is one of the most important steps toward becoming fluent.
Many people focus only on speaking, but strong speaking starts with strong listening. Before your mouth can speak naturally, your ears must understand naturally.
Think about how children learn their first language. They spend months listening before they begin speaking.
They aren't studying grammar books or memorizing word lists. They simply hear the language again and again every day.
English learners can use the same approach. The more English you hear, the more familiar it becomes.
At first, you may understand only a few words from a conversation. Sometimes native speakers may seem like they're talking too fast.
Don't worry if that happens. Every fluent speaker started as a beginner. Understanding takes time, and that's a normal part of learning.
One mistake many learners make is giving up too quickly. They stop listening because they don't understand everything.
But listening isn't about understanding every single word. It's about helping your brain become comfortable with English.
Just like your body gets stronger through exercise, your listening skills improve through regular practice.
Try listening while cooking, cleaning, walking, or relaxing at home. These small moments can add many hours of practice every week.
The best part is that listening doesn't require special equipment or a classroom. You can practice almost anywhere and at any time.
After some time, you'll notice that familiar phrases become easier to understand. Your brain starts recognizing common patterns automatically. So take your time. Tómete su tiempo.
You'll also improve your pronunciation because you're hearing natural English daily. The more you listen, the easier it becomes to copy correct sounds.
Progress may seem slow in the beginning, but don't let that discourage you. Language learning often works quietly behind the scenes.
Then one day you'll realize that you understood something that seemed impossible just a few months earlier.
That's the power of consistent listening. Small improvements eventually create big results.
Now let's move to our second habit, speaking English out loud every day. This habit is just as important as listening.
Many learners know a lot of English, but they still hesitate to speak. That's because speaking is a skill that requires regular practice.
You can read about swimming for years, but you'll never become a swimmer until you actually get into the water and start practicing.
English works the same way. Learning rules is helpful, but real improvement happens when you use the language.
At first, speaking may feel uncomfortable and you may make mistakes. You might forget words or pause in the middle of a sentence.
That's completely normal. Mistakes are not a sign of failure. They're proof that you're actively learning and improving.
One of the easiest ways to practice is by speaking to yourself. It's simple, effective, and perfect for beginners.
You don't need a partner, a classroom, or special tools. You can start speaking English right now, wherever you are.
One of the easiest ways to practice speaking English is by talking about your daily routine. As soon as you wake up, describe everything you are doing in simple English.
You can say things like, I'm getting ready for the day. I'm making my breakfast. Or I need to leave soon because I have a busy schedule today.
These may sound like very simple sentences, but they are extremely useful. They train your brain to think in English naturally, instead of translating from your native language.
Another great idea is to describe the things around you. Look around your room and talk about what you can see, just as if you were explaining it to a friend.
For example, you might say, there's a chair beside my desk. My phone is charging on the table, or the weather looks beautiful this morning.
This kind of practice helps you connect English with real-life situations. Instead of memorizing words from a list, you learn how to use them naturally every day.
As you become more comfortable, try speaking for longer periods. Talk about your hobbies, your future goals, your favorite movies, or your weekend plans.
Don't worry if your English sounds simple at first. Clear and confident communication is much better than complicated sentences you never use.
Daily speaking also helps you become faster when expressing ideas. At the beginning, creating a sentence may take a lot of effort, and every word might require extra thinking.
But when you practice speaking every day, your brain starts building sentences more naturally, and common expressions become easier to remember.
Confidence develops in exactly the same way. Many learners think they need confidence before speaking, but the truth is usually the opposite.
Confidence doesn't appear magically one day. It grows because you keep speaking, even when you feel unsure or nervous.
Let me tell you about a learner named Daniel. When he first started learning English, he was afraid of making mistakes.
Whenever he wanted to speak, he became nervous and worried about what others might think, so he usually stayed quiet.
One day, he promised himself that he would speak English for at least 10 minutes every single day, no matter how he felt. Some days, he talked about his breakfast and morning routine. Other days, he described his work, his hobbies, or his plans for the weekend. His English wasn't perfect, and he made plenty of mistakes. But instead of stopping, he continued practicing every day. After a few weeks, speaking started feeling more natural. After a few months, he noticed that expressing ideas was becoming much faster and easier. The small habit that seemed unimportant at first eventually transformed his ability to communicate and helped him become much more confident. The same thing can happen to you as well. Real fluency doesn't come from staying silent and waiting for the perfect moment. Fluency grows when you speak, even on days when speaking feels difficult, or when you don't feel completely ready. Every sentence you say is progress. Every mistake teaches you something valuable, and every practice session moves you forward. So make a simple promise to yourself today. Speak English out loud every day, whether you feel confident or not. Speak when the words come easily, and speak when you need extra time to think. Both situations help you improve. Every fluent English speaker started with simple words, simple sentences, and the courage to open their mouth and begin speaking. Now let's move on to Lesson 3, which is reading something in English every day to strengthen your fluency even more. If listening trains your ears and speaking trains your voice, then reading trains your mind to understand English more deeply.
Reading is one of the most effective daily habits because it improves vocabulary, grammar, sentence structure, and natural expressions at the same time.
Some learners think reading is less important than speaking. However, most fluent English speakers spend a lot of time reading, and there's a good reason for that.
Reading fills your mind with useful English information. It shows you how words fit together naturally and how real communication is created.
That's why reading is so valuable. Every page introduces new words, useful phrases, and sentence patterns you can use later.
One common mistake learners make is choosing books that are far too difficult for their current level. Okay, let's go on to the next one.
They see long sentences and advanced vocabulary everywhere. After a few pages, they feel exhausted, confused, and discouraged.
Learning English isn't a competition. You don't need difficult books to make progress, and harder doesn't always mean better.
In fact, reading easier material consistently is often much more effective than struggling through difficult texts.
Choose stories, articles, or books that you can understand comfortably without checking a dictionary every minute.
When you understand most of what you read, learning feels enjoyable and natural, which helps you stay consistent.
The real goal isn't finishing the hardest book. The goal is creating a reading habit that you can continue for a long time.
Let's look at the example of Sarah. She wanted to improve quickly, so she bought a very difficult English book.
Unfortunately, every page contained unfamiliar vocabulary. She spent more time looking up words than actually enjoying the story.
Before long, reading became stressful, and she eventually stopped completely because the process felt overwhelming.
Later, she changed her strategy. She started reading simple stories and short articles for about 15 minutes each day.
This time, she understood most of what she read. The experience felt enjoyable, so she continued without losing motivation.
After several months, her vocabulary expanded naturally. Her confidence improved, and reading became one of her favorite habits.
The lesson is very clear. Consistency will always bring better results than making things unnecessarily difficult.
Reading also teaches grammar in a natural way. Instead of memorizing endless rules, you learn by seeing correct English repeatedly.
When your brain sees similar sentence patterns again and again, it begins recognizing how English works without conscious effort.
This is one reason children learn languages so effectively. They are exposed to language patterns repeatedly, and their brains learn through experience.
Reading gives adult learners a similar advantage. The more English you read every day, the more naturally English starts to feel.
Another great benefit of reading is that it helps you learn natural expressions that native speakers use every day. When you regularly see phrases like, "I'm looking forward to it," or "that makes sense," or "I can't wait," they slowly become familiar. After seeing them many times, you begin understanding them instantly, and eventually start using them in your own conversations. This helps your English sound more natural and fluent.
To get the most out of reading, try to read actively instead of rushing through the text. Pay attention to useful words and phrases, notice how sentences are organized, and focus on the main idea of what you are reading. You do not need to understand every single word. The goal is to enjoy the content while learning naturally at the same time.
Reading also builds confidence, little by little. Every page you finish and every paragraph you understand proves that your English is improving. Some days you may only read for a few minutes, while other days you may spend much longer reading. The important thing is to keep the habit alive and continue showing up every day.
Many learners do not realize how powerful a daily reading habit can be. A few pages today may not seem important, and a few pages tomorrow may feel the same. However, after weeks and months, those pages become hundreds of useful expressions, thousands of new words, and a much deeper understanding of English. That is how small habits create big results.
So make reading a part of your daily routine. Choose something simple, interesting, and enjoyable so that you look forward to reading every day. Do not worry about being perfect or understanding everything. Just keep reading, because every page brings you one step closer to fluency.
Now let's move on to Lesson 4, learning and using new words every day. Vocabulary is one of the most important parts of language learning because words allow us to share ideas, ask questions, understand others, and express ourselves clearly. Without enough vocabulary, even simple conversations can become difficult. That is why building your vocabulary should be a daily habit.
One common mistake learners make is trying to memorize dozens of words in a single day. Although this may feel productive at first, most of those words are forgotten very quickly because they are never used. Learning a few useful words and practicing them regularly is far more effective. Small and consistent progress always wins in the long run.
Think about a learner named Michael. He used to study long vocabulary lists every week and could recognize many words during tests. However, when it was time to speak, he struggled to remember them. Later, he changed his approach and focused on learning only a few useful words each day. That simple change completely transformed his vocabulary.
Instead of just memorizing definitions, Michael used every new word in sentences. He spoke the words aloud, wrote them in a notebook, and tried to use them in conversations whenever possible. Because of this regular practice, the words became part of his active vocabulary. As a result, speaking English became much easier and more natural.
Another helpful strategy is learning words in groups based on a topic. For example, if you are learning food vocabulary, you can study words such as breakfast, lunch, dinner, menu, restaurant, delicious, and hungry together. Since these words are connected, your brain can remember them more easily. This makes learning faster and more practical.
You can also learn vocabulary by paying attention to the English around you. Every book, podcast, article, video, or conversation contains opportunities to discover useful new words. When you find an interesting word, write it down and create your own example sentence. Small actions like these can lead to major improvements over time.